This is your navigation bar. And in the Plone world, your navigation bar is a reflection of your content. So you'll notice news, events, users. If I add, say, another folder called, let's just say places, what will happen is I'll get another navigation item. Now it does respect the hierarchy. So if I add an image in here within places, then because it's not at the top level of the site. So you notice that if I go to home, my top level is reflected in the navigation bar at the top here. Now there's some issues. Once you start using Plone, you start to discover something interesting. If you add, say, a couple of images to your top level site, Plone makes no distinction between images and folders. And so because those images are at the top level of your site, they will also show up. And now I don't recommend that you put images at the top level of your site, but sometimes it happens. And if you refresh the page, you'll discover that those images also become part of your navigation. This is not desirable. So here's a way to solve that problem. You can go to your site setup, and there is an option for managing different ways for your navigation bar to work. So I typically set my navigation bar to only use items that are folders. So instead of generating tabs for items that aren't folders, I take that off. Secondly, I also filter by state, and I usually only want published items in my navigation bar. By doing that, what happens is items won't automatically show up in the navigation bar. There's one other thing you should know about the navigation bar, and that is you can override the behavior of an item that qualifies to be in the navigation bar, and I'll show you how that works. So let's say something like places and users have been published. So based on our new rules, once it's published, it should show in the navigation bar. So let's publish those. And once they're published, let's go back to the home and see if they show up. And surely enough, they show up. But let's say you do not want one of them to be there. It is possible to edit a given folder and change the properties of that folder so that even if it meets the criteria for showing up in the navigation bar, it's still excluded from navigation bar. And that's found under settings, exclude from navigation. And by doing that, that particular folder will never show up in the navigation bar.